Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I am super excited. My guest, Dr. Leslie Birkland, is here to join us, and she's going to share exactly who she is and what it is that she does. So take it away, Leslie.
Okay, well, I am Dr. Leslie Birkland. I have a holistic life counseling degree from the University of Sedona. It is also part of the University of Metaphysics. So it's sort of a sub part of the University of Metaphysics. So when you actually do their bachelor's program and you do their master's program, then you can actually choose whether you want your PhD to be at the University of Metaphysics or the University of Sedona. So they're a little different and they have different programs. So the program, because I wanted to start with life counseling, was important to me because years prior to that, I was a life coach. And I became a life coach, very much like you, Tammi, where people would just ask me questions and I would I was the sort of the go-to person. What should I do? And I'd give them advice. And sometimes I didn't even know if they were taking my advice. And then a year later, they would say, oh, yeah, you know what? I one gal in particular, I did arrange my school. She had a 2-year college, accredited college. She goes, oh, I really did change the platform to what you said. And I'm thinking, girlfriend, I was just talking, just out of my head what I thought. I had no idea you were taking it seriously. So, but she took it and it was successful. So people were always coming to me asking, just for advice. And so then I ended up getting certificates in life coaching and stress management. And I was pretty successful for 7 years and really enjoyed it. But I thought to myself, I just wanted to go a little bit further in my education because I knew that there was so much more.
Yes.
I was really focusing on with life coaching, you're only supposed to work with people that are, for the most part, healthy. They're just at a crossroads in their life.
Yes.
They just don't know what path to take. And it has to do with legalities because we're not actually counselors, and it's actually opinion. It's about, our opinion. So we do have some constrictions, with being a life coach of the type of, I can't psychoanalyze somebody. I can't go deep into their history. So I thought, I just need to increase my degree so that I can go a little bit deeper into somebody, and also treating somebody body, mind, and soul, or body, mind, and spirit. And because we are an entire person, we're an entire human being. We are much more than just any problems, whether they be external or internal problems that we may have. And so taking that approach, I have found, has been so much more successful. And then I also went to New Eden because the body part was very important. And it's not 100% about just, thinking about, every single cell in your body. And you can do that through meditation. But I really wanted to know more about nutrition. So I went to New Eden school and that university, and I was able to get a PhD. And I did them, they kind of crossed over. So there was a time where I was doing my dissertation with one school and doing a dissertation with another school. And my mind was just, but I was still loving every minute.
I was going to say, how was that?
It was hard. The University of Sedona dissertation was, it takes about a year. So you think, oh boy, I can zip through this, the bachelor's program. I can sort of, if you want to, I suggest that people take their time and take a few years to do it. But technically you could, go through it quickly. And then comes a dissertation and you have to write a research paper on the subject that you've chosen that has to do with, metaphysics. So So my first one was on the dream world, because I'm really into what we dream, and it's a separate part of our body, and it's a whole nother universe. When we're
Yes.
dreaming, we are leaving our body. It's a whole nother world. And we, in our awakened state, in our bodies, disregard it. Or we're always trying to say, I dreamt about my teeth falling out. I wonder what that means. Then we have these books, 12,000 reasons, what they mean. And the books are are ridiculous. It would say something like, it means that somebody is going to betray you. Okay. Oh, great. What if you dream about houses? It means that somebody's in your life is going to betray you. And I thought, okay, well, you know what? We know what we're dreaming. We know why we're dreaming. If we're dreaming about certain houses and certain places in other countries, people are speaking other languages, odds are they're memories that we have, or we actually we're actually in that space. It's
Yes.
another world that is equal to our world right now. And I think that we need to appreciate it. So that was actually, that was my dissertation. That was my, the other paper that I had to write in order to pass my, the master's program. And then that took a while. My dissertation was basically on medicine. It was on modern medicine, and how doctors now are actually taking all the history that they poo-pooed, the natural medicine, all of our natural plants that they just disregard to have pharmaceuticals, the pharmaceuticals that are oftentimes trashing our bodies. And I'm not referring to somebody that is like a diabetic and their body doesn't make insulin. You can't just say one day, I'm just not going to take my insulin because I'm going to take some now. You do have to work. It's called, integrated medicine,
Yes.
alternative integrated medicine. It's where you do work with medical doctors, but it's not
Yes.
solely relying on just the pharmaceuticals.
Yes.
So, but also I was diagnosed 20 years ago with multiple sclerosis. And I don't know if you know a lot about multiple sclerosis, but I'll make it really, really simple.
I do.
You do? Okay. Well, then to everyone else, it's all the nerves that, go from your brain throughout your body. It's just think of an electrical system. They're not firing right. Each little nerve, just like a wire, has a little plastic sheath on it. We have what's called a myelin sheath, and it kind of breaks down. So we might get sparks. We might get numb some places. We might get numb. We might not feel, our legs one day. And so I went through a phase about 5 years ago when I started to go to the University of Sedona, where I was actually bedridden. I was bedridden for about 8 months. And my son actually took pictures of me where my entire bed was books. It was books. I decided to, instead of focusing on my disabilities and all the things that I couldn't do, and to focus on what I could do. You know what I could do? I could go to school and I could learn. And through that process of learning and practicing what I learned, I got better. But I felt that it was really important. In fact, my practice, a lot of it has to do with baby stepping. Because Tammi, we live in this microwave world. We want it now. We want that day. I clicked 2 minutes.
No,
I want
yesterday.
Yesterday. I want it yesterday. So baby stepping, when I work with a client, let's talk about getting you a little bit healthier. Then, baby step that. Then we can talk about what the issues are, whether it be with your family or, then we can talk about meditating, and then we can talk about the vibration and what's really important in the world.
Yes.
So it was important to me to know about just our bodies and about plants.
Yes.
And of course, I know now that if something happened to this world and in our grocery stores, there was no food, I literally could go in my backyard and live for a year. Yeah, I could live for a year.
That's
on
nice.
Picking the plants, because I know this, because I have learned this. There are so many. God gave us this entire world, this universe, for us to understand. Think about just the father of metaphysics. Think about, who he, well, let me see, he was born in, what is his name? Okay, you know what? I should know this because I've studied it. I probably have written about him. Parmenides. Okay, so he was born about 1700, and so he sort of brought metaphysics. He studied like, people like Aristotle, Socrates, and of course my favorite, Plato. I actually love Plato. He has the allegory of the cave. I don't know if you're familiar with that story, but it's about reality. And look it up. It is I really studied a lot about Plato. I'm absolutely that would be the one person that I follow. Now Socrates, who was his mentor, and Aristotle was the mentor, his mentor was Plato. So there's the three. They were all contemporaries. Most people don't know that, except that, Plato being in the middle, he lived the same life as Socrates, and then Socrates died, and then there was Aristotle. So Plato's sort of the one in the middle that really probably wrote, because Socrates didn't write. Plato wrote for him. So people always wonder, so anyway, but Plato is just how he looks at life. And the cave, basically the allegory of the cave is a story about the matrix. It would be the simplest story about we are living in a matrix. And how do we ascend out of this matrix? And do we want to? And I was watching one of your videos, or someone was saying, well, I kind of like the taste of food. I kind of like, it was one of your guests. I can't remember who she was, and it was like, yeah, maybe it's comfortable. Maybe it's not uncomfortable, but don't we want to know what's true and what's real?
Right. Do we want to know that?
Do we want to know that? Are we ready to know that? Most of the time
we don't.
Yeah. Well, for thousands of years, we haven't wanted to. We're just all comfortable in these bodies and doing and trying to achieve things and trying to. You did a cute clip. So I'm your fan. Have you ever figured that out? So you did this cute clip where you were talking about manifesting. And I think you said something, it was just cracked me up. You were like, this hooey about manifesting and getting your car, but then you got into it, because we do hear that, because there's been The Secret came out and everyone wants to manifest and everyone tries to do it. And it's like, well, I didn't get my red Corvette that I wanted. And I thought about it and all of a sudden I didn't get it. And it's like, well, there is a way to manifest. You actually have to already think that you have it.
Right. You got to come from that place.
Yeah, you have to come from the place that is something that already exists. But and when it works, it works. When you know that you deserve, you have, it's there, that universe will give it to you every time, no exception.
Yes.
It arranges itself for you. And you have to, it's just receiving it. Sometimes we don't receive it because we don't think that we're worthy.
That's the piece.
Yeah.
We don't feel worthy. And the thing is why is that? Why don't we feel worthy?
Because of belief systems. People have belief systems that we learn as little children. And it's not the fault of our parents. It's not the fault of our teachers or people around us. It's because they have the same belief system. There's a box. They knew. It's a box. Yeah. And we can't, get out of that box. This is the reality of the world. And we can't just decide that we want something, and people that can, we just think that somehow they're special or they're lucky. Or there's that old saying, when opportunity, luck is when opportunity and preparation meet. Well, yeah, that's true. Oprah said that. And yes.
Right. Oprah said it. Of course it's true.
So, well, yeah, I know. Because she's Oprah. She's the greatest manifester on the planet.
For sure.
So, and so, but why? But we're kind of told day by day, our parents gaslight us, not in a negative way. They do it unwittingly. They gaslight us like, oh, honey, you didn't.
It's what they knew. And the thing is too, like, you said, because my parents were the same. My mother was 18. My dad was 17 when I was born. So what did they know?
Right. But they knew that there were restrictions. They knew, or they felt it's a belief system. They
Yes.
believed it. So a lot of it is what we believe in a belief system. And sometimes when that is ingrained, that is when I work with clients, that's the number one thing that I have to break people of, because they are stuck on a belief that is ingrained in their body, their mind, their soul. They just simply believe it. And it's hard for them to not believe something that was so real to them. And
Yes.
to realize that that's not true. There's so much more opportunity. God gave it all to us. He gave us every single plant. He gave us the air we breathe. He gave everything, our higher source. It's there. It is a gift to us. And anything that goes wrong in our lives, when somebody says, well, how can God let that happen? You did it because of your belief system.
Yes.
The opposite is there. There is an opposite to everything. There is a yin and a yang, and you can go ahead and look at it the other way and break away from your belief system.
Yes.
So, and someone else, another one, because I've been watching all your shows. So she said something about saying no, the power of women saying no.
Yes.
And I just wanted to.
That was the last two that I did that showed. Both
Okay.
of them actually were about the same type of thing. They both were. One called herself a nope coach.
I like that. Yeah.
I did too. I was like, I like that. But she called herself a nope coach. And the other one, she helps women with burnout and, saying no, basically same thing. So I was like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but her
she came
burnout
from
was saying no, but then you do something else, but then you're still exhausting yourself because there's all these other things. But to say, my attitude is to say no with no explanation. And that is okay. Because we as women, when we decide that we can say no, we feel this need, this inherent need that we have to explain why we're saying no. We don't need to explain it. Oh, will you do this, that, and that for me? No. Well, why not? No.
Because I don't want to.
Not that. But no explanation. Well, don't you have time for it? Well, it's just not going to happen. The answer is no. It's simply no. And it is like, whoo, it's like something just comes to actually say no, because when you say no, it makes your yes more powerful, because when you say yes, you know that you are able to fulfill that yes, because you are more committed, instead of being a codependent person that just wants to please everybody. Yes, 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 yes. And then they become exhausted, and then they don't have time for themselves. Then they come to see a therapist, and then they want, we teach them how to have time for themselves. But there is a power in just the word no.
Yes.
No.
I agree completely and totally. Because the thing is especially for women, we haven't often been taught that. Most of the time we haven't, but I can remember something that happened when I was a child. My mother said, I was telling my mother, somebody didn't like me or something. They said they thought I don't even remember what it was, but they didn't like me. And so I went, to tell my mom. My mom was like, well, do they do anything for you? Do they, buy you food? Do they get you clothes? Do they do anything for you? I said, no. She said, well, then why do you give a fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. If they don't bring you happiness, if they don't bring you joy, then there is no value in that relationship. And if they don't like you, then that is actually their problem. They're missing out. They're missing out because you are just, have this aura of just happiness and joy. And sometimes people are jealous, and that's why they choose not to like you. I remember taking a course on public speaking, and it's something that I just learned. And the course said, you have an audience of people. And there's people smiling, and you're giving your speech, whatever it may be. It may even be on manifesting or on, whatever it is you do, or they're there. And you're always going to have a couple sour pusses or people that just, seem uninterested. It's our nature as women to sell those people too. We already have these people. We won these people. We want to sort of convince these people to, come on board, but that's not what you do. You do not play up to those people because they do not deserve you. You give your time to the people that are there that appreciate you.
Yes.
They will come around.
Right.
If they have any brains, they will come around. But that's going to make everything better, is to just ignore the people that are negative, because we do not need negative people, negative attitudes.
No, we don't.
Because there's always going to be negative people, and their vibration level. I don't know if you read Hawkins or, Dodson, so some of those, and they talk about
Dr. Joe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the vibration levels, when you are at a point called courage, you're in the positive. So, and when you're at, below courage, when you're in shame or blame or all these, negative, apathy would be like the lowest, one of the lowest. You're not, it's really hard to ascend. But people in our business, we are faced with people that are in a negative vibration. Courage is the beginning, is the first stage of going up, when, the highest level being love, pure love, which pretty much that would be Mother Teresa, Jesus. I mean, it's not really in the human realm right now. We may, we may not, but that, I mean, I'm talking pure love.
Right. Yes.
So, but we are around sometimes people because we're working with them, trying to bring them up. Now, our presence does help, but we actually do need time for ourselves.
Yes.
To sort of rejuvenate ourselves and to help people, rise up, because that's our job. That's our calling. You're doing this because it's a calling.
Yes.
It's not all about you. It's not all about your own energy, your own chakra, and you just rising up. You want to bring people with you. You want to bring other, entities with you and rise them up. But, it just depends on if they're ready.
Yes.
Some people are not ready, and we can't convince them. They may be ready.
Right.
They may. I had a friend that I brought in to do Reiki with me. I'm Reiki. I say Reiki, but it's Reiki. Yeah. So we did a session, and I said, be open-minded. I want you to accept the experience and feel the energy and feel the negative energy being thrown away and feel everything and just relax. And at the end, it was, of course, an incredible experience for me. And he said, well, I don't feel any different. And I was like, okay, you're not ready. You're just not quite ready for that experience, but you will be. At least he knew, because a year later he told me, oh, I did this really wonderful thing called Reiki. And I'm like, gee, I heard that somewhere. I think someone, oh, it was me. I took you there. He's like, oh gosh. So it was in his mind. Even though he didn't recall that I was the person that introduced them, that's fine. It was still there. There was thoughts about it. So when he did it a second time, he was able to appreciate and understand the value.
Yeah. So you planted the seed.
I guess I didn't think of it that way, but yes, I will give myself credit for that. I planted the seed, and that was good enough for me. Whatever, helps him. But about manifesting, I was talking when I was listening to you. You just did some little clip like in a parking lot, which I thought, I love this person. You were just talking about, going around the parking lot, finding, how do we do that? And of course that's just simply going to happen. It's not, you don't wait till you don't have the spot, because then it's kind of hard to, it's just not there. I don't even consider that there won't be a spot. There's always a spot, because
there's always a spot. Yes.
It's going to be there. But, but there is something to be careful. And that is, I don't know if you've heard the expression, be careful what you wish for.
Oh, yeah.
Be careful what you manifest.
Yeah.
Be careful, because something happened to me. I'm going to share this. I'm not infallible. I'm not perfect.
Absolutely.
I'm in this business because I'm still learning and growing myself. I decided, I was watching this video of a guy saying, you can manifest, one of those YouTube guys, $1 million and I will help you manifest. And he goes, and do this for 5 minutes and you will manifest $45,000. I'm like, okay, I'll try it.
5 minutes. Okay.
I'll give it a go. So
Mm-hmm.
I did his little, thing. And then, with my own manifesting, and I really was thinking I have it. I was envisioning it coming into my account. And 2 weeks later, I got a check for $45,000. Now
Oh,
that sounds,
wow.
well, yeah. However, it was from an insurance company because my house flooded. So yes, indeed, it worked. But be careful how you manifest, because I did get what I wanted. Exactly. It did go into the checking account and my house flooded. And now I'm looking at the positive, because my entire house is being all new floors, all new walls, all new everything, all new kitchen. And that's going to be lovely. But that wasn't quite sort of what I had in mind with this $50,000 or $45,000, manifesting. I was thinking it was just
Right.
fun money.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's what I was
so
going to
it's sort
say.
of like, be careful, because you may get what you want, but it may not come exactly. I mean, I
How
got it.
you wanted it.
It works. So sometimes you have to be a little more specific.
You have to say, outside of,
Yeah, really. I know. So
or even people do stuff with jobs. They're like, oh, well, I just need a job and this and that. And then they get a job, but it's not anything they want.
right. So it has to be more. It's not just simply a new job. It's just not a higher position. It's not just more money. It has to be something that you're going to enjoy.
Yes.
Something that you're going to enjoy, that's going to bring you joy and happiness, so that you can spread that to others.
Yes. Yes.
So there's just, a lot more. I've been having fun because now, my practice is actually new, transitioning from being a life coach into being, a holistic life counselor. The
Yes.
transition is giving me a little more flexibility to work
Love
with
it.
people. And it's
Love
just
it.
it is such a joy, because people say, what do you get out of it? My joy, my happiness is seeing the success, is getting the phone calls, even a week later, even if it's months later, saying, I did this. You're not going to believe what happened. One woman said, I went into that building and I owned it. She was in a new, she's a school teacher, and she was started a new uh, school, and it was a better school. There was all sorts of good things about it, but I said, she was intimidated. I said, I want you to own that building. I want you to go there when school is not going on. I want you to look at that building at every single corner. I want you to own it. I want you to imagine your spirit above looking down. You own that. You know
Yes.
that. You own everything in that building. That is
Yes.
yours. And she said it made all the difference. She went in there and people were just responding. Here she being the newbie, they were responding better. The students were responding better because she wasn't inside,
Yes.
intimidated. I'm in this new environment. I have to learn all these new things. She was like, she owned it. It was
Yes.
hers, and she can incorporate her ideas more effectively because she's not
Yeah.
coming from there's that old expression.
The timid place.
Yes, from being a place of being timid. But now you're healing. Tell me, I am curious. I know it, your show and people know, but I don't know, like as being a natural healer, do you tell me about diseases? Because I have.
So I actually have started studying that thing because, so here's a backstory about me. My grandmother was a pastor, preacher, teacher, evangelist, prophetess type. But what she did was she started her own church because the church that we were a part of wouldn't allow women to preach. They could get up and introduce the bishop or the whoever, the pastor or whatever. They could get up and introduce somebody and stuff like that. And so then they could say few words then, but they didn't allow women to preach. And so she said that God called her to be a pastor, to have her church. So she did. She got her own church, had her own place. And as time started going, she started getting into like Abraham Hicks and Wayne
Excellent.
Dyer, Louise Hay, all these people. And so she was my person. So whatever she said, and she also actually was a person that pulled me out at 4 years old and said, come in here, because we used to go to these churches and lay hands on somebody and pray for them. And I did. She would call me up, and she'd say, lay hands, put your hands on so-and-so and pray for them. And I would, and they would get healed. And so I knew that that was something that I was supposed to do. Of course, you go through periods of time, time goes on. This was actually 50 years ago now. So it's like, okay, but I knew that that was a part. And then I started seeing the dead people and stuff, and that was a whole nother thing, because who do you tell about that? Nobody, because you're already weird. You're already weird anyway, once you tell people that. And in the way that they used to come to me was like so weird. I would like see a person say like, she was the person that was always going to the funeral. So I went to lots of those as a child, lots of funerals, lots. And so we would go and I would see somebody and, just look at them. And then all of a sudden I would see them in the box and I would see them wearing whatever they were wearing. So when we went to the funeral, they looked exactly like I saw them in the vision that I had. Sometimes they were people that, were already sick and they knew it. Sometimes it was people that was sick and they were the only ones that knew it. They hadn't shared with anybody else. Sometimes they weren't sick at all that we knew of. And so I would see that. And I asked God to take that away. Because that
was it too much
scary
for you? Was it just too much for your intellect, or at the time as a young person to witness that?
7, 8 years old? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I would say so.
Too much.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I thank you for the gift. But when I'm ready and more mature and to understand how you can help,
right.
What is your job in order to see this, just because your intuition was so, just so developed for such a young person. And I understand, who do you tell? People are going to think you're just goofy, or you're just making it up, or you're just
already weird. So,
I'm like all about embracing the weirdness. The first ghost, not first, because I would see them all the time, was I was at a hotel. I was visiting Seattle. You may even know the hotel. It used to be called the Renton Inn. And the Renton Inn was bought by Holiday Inn. Okay. And they had an old part. It's right by the SeaTac airport. So they have an old part. And then they rebuilt sort of the Holiday Inn, and they have a little restaurant. And I went to check in because I was visiting some family, and they said, we're booked up. And I said, I know that you're not booked up. Just they go, oh, okay. And the old part, it's not been remodeled. We do have a room available. Where I said, I'll take it. I'll take the room. So I'm in the room and I'm laying there just watching TV. Right in front of me, very clear. Yes, the person was translucent, but I could see hair color. He had a 1970s haircut, a 1970s red jogging suit on, like right out of the 70s, not the new stuff that's in style again that people are wearing, these track suits, and walked right by me in front of the TV. And I'm like, well, hello. And then flies out the window, just jumps out the window. And I thought, okay, well, that's really interesting. So the next day, and it's just like, whatever, he was just there. It's just a guy. I didn't know his history. He didn't know me. He didn't see me. He didn't recognize me. It could have been an imprint, because, sometimes when things happen, it's just an imprint that loops over and over. But it was happening. So as I'm checking out, I said, oh, by the way, the guy in the tracksuit, now I know why you didn't want to give me that room. And they went, oh yeah, we've had lots of people tell us that. It's like, well, you could have mentioned it to me. Like, the room's haunted.
No, they would have mentioned it to you because you were ready to rent it.
I know. Well, I think that everyone didn't see it. And so that they were just hoping, but enough people that they had tagged that room as, some people are going to see this guy, walking by in a jogging suit. My only other one was I was in Mexico, and they actually built a brand new Sheraton hotel on top of an old cemetery. Just like in the movies, they build it on, just like poltergeist, you do. And so I'm in my room, and it's really early in the morning. It's just starting to get light out, and I'm in bed, and I look behind me. I'm with my husband, I look behind me and there is, now this wasn't, I couldn't see the person. It wasn't like the tracksuit guy. It was just a
Silhouette.
smoky silhouette. Yeah. Sort of a
Mhm.
white silhouette. And it was moving like, just back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not seeing this. So I walk over to the curtains and I throw them open so the light would come in, the early morning light. And I turn around thinking, because maybe it was just from the curtains, and
Mhm.
that darn thing was still there. And I said, you know what? I'm not into channeling, not my thing. Just can you go bother the neighbors? I went back to bed and put the blanket over my head and went to sleep. I never didn't see it again.
Hey, I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want to deal with it. So with a 4-year-old, you can't say that. You can't say like, you know
No.
what, this has been nice, that I see you, but I'm not ready to deal with it. Can you just go away? And
Mhm.
you can't do that. But I was
Right.
older. I was an adult woman. I was like, this just not my thing right
I
now.
do
I
it too
mean,
much for me. I'm good.
yeah, and I'm tired. I'm tired too. I need to finish my napping. So, so a
Right.
couple of things have happened. My husband passed away.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
And
that.
he passed away in in '09. So it's been several years. For about 5 years, he would push me at night in bed. I'd be sleeping in bed by myself. I've been by myself since then. I mean, a nudge, like a push. And I'm like, stop it. I'm like, I know it's you. I'm glad you're here.
Mm-mm. Oh, look, let me sleep.
Yeah, but I could talk to him and ask him questions. If I ever felt troubled, I could just call him and say, what do I do? How do I handle this? And the answer would just come. I mean, he was there to protect his family. There was me and our 3 sons. And so a couple were in high school, still at the time. And so he was there. And for about maybe 10 years, and then he was gone.
Oh, wow.
And that means he went somewhere. I don't know. I've asked. I've tried to find out. I don't know. I don't know if he's, if he's just on another plane or another level, but he's
Right.
not here on this realm where we are right now. So he's either ascended, maybe he just felt that, okay, we're all good enough. The kids are grown up, that he doesn't, he doesn't, need to help us. But the day he was gone, he was gone. And it was kind of sad because I enjoyed having him
I
around, but
can
then,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, but I wanted him to go where he needed to go.
I was going to say, and it might be time for you as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It was time for me. So these are things that some of my clients are not ready to hear. So what I essentially do, because it's holistic counseling, it's body, mind, it's spirit, or
Mhm.
sometimes I'll say soul. So what I do is, because I do with all aspects, the first thing I do in my business, because it's all about baby stepping, is we will do their body first. And the first thing I do is I have them do a body cleanse. Just a natural body cleanse. It can be a 3-day cleanse. It can be a 5-day cleanse. It can be a 10-day cleanse. I tell them it has to be time where they probably aren't going to go to work, because some of these cleanses will say you can just live your day and go to work. And I promise you that's not true.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah, if you've done, but these are the cleanses to get rid of all of the parasites out of our bodies, all the toxins. They actually have some activated charcoal in some of them to get rid of the toxins. Well,
Yes.
your body, some of it will come out of your skin. You might all of a sudden have a rash, but it is toxins coming. So then when the person comes back to me right after the cleanse a week later, then I'm ready to start baby stepping on. Let's talk about, your life and things that are making you unhappy. Let's find your joy.
Yes.
Let's find your joy. What did it feel like when you were joyful? Then I do a vibration going back in time. And I'm going to tell you, as a counselor, I need counseling myself, because we all do.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not somebody that's in a position where, I'm not any special or any better. I mean, yes, I mean, maybe I'm a little higher understanding. But there's still going to be some influences in my life, some negative influence that I need to deal with. And
Yeah.
I did have something, and I was petrified of driving. I
Okay.
cannot drive. I cannot be driven in a car. I made people's lives miserable, miserable. If I was driving with you, Tammi, you would probably just pull over and say, get out of the car.
Yeah.
Well, you don't drive. If I was with your husband or something.
Hey, ask my brother. I have done that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, lady, you know what? Because I'm just like the worst, like, oh God, or watch out. I mean, just like absolutely petrified. I have not been on a freeway in years. Won't do the freeway, won't do. And it was such a hardship that it gave me anxiety knowing that I had to go somewhere in a car. So I actually hired car services, as if that makes any difference to another driver. But somehow I felt, so the car services, they ended up giving me a discount because I would call car services to take me everywhere. There was a couple of people I felt safe driving with. It was one of my sons and my brother, because they would actually drive the way that they knew my anxiety level was. It would be from 1 to 10. It was way over 10. It was like at 1,000.
Oh, wow.
And this is after my schooling, after having a practice. So I went to a vibration expert who brought me back in time. And the process is called why? What for? It's called what for?
Wow.
What for? Why? Why didn't you like to drive in a car? Because people die in cars. Well, people die crossing the street. People die tripping down some stairs. People, die also, a toilet can fall on their head from the toilet seat from an airplane. I'm just kidding. It's from a movie.
Right.
So, there's other reasons why specifically a car. Well, because statistics show, and I came up with some baloney statistics that I think I just made up on the, with statistically, more people dying. So I went back, and we went back too far in time. We went back too far, where I was in a car accident when I was like 12 years old. Didn't feel the anxiety. It was just a garden variety, little car accident. Yeah, I went to the hospital, broke a leg. Didn't bother me. I didn't have anxiety associated with that. So we went back too far. Then we came back forward, and I just have chills. I started crying because it was a belief system. I was driving down the freeway, and there was a car accident I saw on the other side of the freeway. And there was a man that had died, and they hadn't covered his body, but he was smashed. The front of his car and the back of his truck smashed him to a pancake. And so you can see a sliver that he had been a human being. It was a corpse. Now, okay, so it was a horrible accident. Hundreds of other people saw this. But why did it affect me? And it was because at that moment in time, I said the words out loud: I do not want to die that way. I made a proclamation. I created a belief system in my head. And from that moment on, and that was about in 2010. And for that many years, all these years. And the moment I said to the person that was bringing me back too far, then forward to that moment, and when I said out loud, I do not want to die that way, it went away. I went into the car 10 minutes later. It's gone. Completely gone. I can drive now. I can drive with other people. So it's really interesting for me to use this vibration to find back the moment in time, because we talked earlier a little bit about our belief system. We have these beliefs. I believed that I absolutely did not want to die that way. And how do I achieve that? By not driving in a car. And it was on a freeway. And so, yeah. So now I'm incorporating this as a type of trauma in my practice. And then I also I don't know if you've heard of, there's two terms. One is called movie theater technique, and one is called cinema technique. And so I work with a lot of people that have like post-traumatic stress, syndrome. And I watched an article on, or a live show on TEDx, or I'm sorry, it was TED Talk, where it is 97% effective. And it's a little different than my trauma. My trauma was, I didn't know the trauma. So I had to use the vibration expert to bring me back to discover the trauma, and I was able to let it go. Gotcha. By recognizing it, seeing it, and letting it go. The movie theater technique is where you go back in time, but you already know what the trauma is. So that's why it's a lot of people that maybe have had some sexual abuse, whatever their post-traumatic stress syndrome, they know what the occurrence was. And so it's a technique by having them visually watch it, based like they're watching on a movie theater. And it's a technique that I bring them through, and I will usually do it 3 times. And after 3 sessions, it is 97% cure rate, according to the veterans, the hospitals where the veterans go. They are using this technique, as opposed to talk therapy, talking about it, talking about the trauma of war, having, a soldier, friend,
having them relive it,
die in your arms. You're reliving it, but you're separated from it because you're watching it on a movie screen. Then we separate you more, then we separate you more, and then you more. And then it's an event. It doesn't mean the event didn't happen. And it doesn't mean that the event wasn't horrific. It's just that it's not consuming every moment of your life. And
yes.
Yeah. So that's another technique that I specialize in, in addition, with this counseling, and it's been very, very successful. Also, a lot of parents, look at me, I'm just gabbing on and on and on.
No, that's why you're here.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about what I do.
I'm just excited. I'm excited about that because I know that is huge. So many people deal with that stuff.
Anyone who is listening, I can just tell you, you don't have to go to me. You don't have to even go. Look up movie theater technique on YouTube. Look up cinema technique for PTSD or trauma. Just put in trauma, cinema theater technique. You will find lots and lots of videos. Some of them are a little bit varied, but you will have a great understanding. And then when you go online to find a therapist or a counselor, just ask somebody that specializes in the movie theater technique for any kind of trauma. And the success rate is just huge. There is no reason to see a psychiatrist. Ooh, I'm going to get a lot of psychiatrists not liking me right now. There's no reason to see somebody for 3 or 4 years. I even tell my clients, if I can't help you after 3 or 4 months, unless there's just all the checkups. I mean, sometimes, then after a month, it's a revisit and how are you doing, or is there anything new? But, with an ongoing one occurrence that you need help on, you have an issue with your sister-in-law because she's a crazy maker, if I can't help you in 3 or 4 months, then I'm not doing my job.
Right.
So, and that's how psychiatrists should look at it. If they're not helping you, really and I'm not talking about giving you medicine, and just dulling your brain. And that's another thing about the MS. I was in a fog. I'm completely off multiple sclerosis medicine. I'm on 0. Absolutely 0. And I can walk now, and I'm not bedridden. And it's all because of my training and my schooling. And I'm practicing on myself so that I can help others.
That is so powerful. That's exactly my journey. It's like, all the things I learned, I practice on me, and I know, this is going to work, and blah, blah, blah. And this is, and so that is amazing. I love that. When I hear that, it's like, okay, yes, because I really truly believe that our clients are really just us in the back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're us. They're people that, look at us and say, okay, you know what? I can do that, or I can be that, or I can, I can manifest, or I can heal, or I can whatever, So I kind of started going into that myself, where, I truly love the healing work. I was getting into it. I did Reiki, all that stuff, and did Reiki, did theta healing, a few other different things and stuff. But I was like, it's some healing that's inside of me that I pull from that I haven't gotten training for. You know what I mean? So I know is what I was sent here in this particular incarnation to do, and I know I've done it already in the past.
Well, it's a gift. You have a gift. You know that other people we all have it. Do we recognize it?
Right.
You have it. It's just there. Maybe you didn't want it necessarily fully when you were 4 years old, but
No.
now you're a grown woman and you know how what you can do for other people.
Right.
And it really just is something just wonderful. And the fact that somebody will come to you, that they will come to you or even come to me, that in itself, I put them at a level of they want help.
Yes.
That is a good thing.
Yes.
It's sometimes I'll see some friends. It's like, oh, you are definitely a codependent. You're just, helping everyone and your life is a mess, but they're not coming to me. They're not coming to me. So they're not ready.
Right.
So the people that are seeing us, at least we know that they're ready.
Yes.
They're ready. And that's huge. That's a huge step for them.
Yes. And it really is. It's like, you almost want to reward them. It's like,
I know.
So glad you're here, and I have had people that I've worked with and I'm like, I'm so glad you're here. I said, I know, you said you can just do one session or whatever. And of course, what we do, we're going to overgive anyway. So it's like, I'm going to make sure that you have, what you need and, what you came for and all this stuff. And I have this, that, all of these tools that we're going to work with. But you know what? That doesn't even matter. What matters is that we're going to help you. We're going to get you from this place of feeling stuck and feeling whatever and not knowing what you're going to do as far as your body and all this stuff, and knowing that you can heal, because to me, that is the major, huge part of it. Because people are like, oh, well, I have this going on, or I always talk about this because I just feel it so strongly. People pet these diseases. They just pet them like, oh, I got MS, or my MS. That's what they say. My MS, or my fibromyalgia, or my cancer, or whatever, my diabetes. And I'm like, no, none of that shit belongs to me.
That's right. That's right. And then there's people that identify. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm on a lot of MS sites, and because I know that their vibration level is a little bit lower, and they identify with their MS.
Yes.
That is part of their life. That's part of what makes them who they are. And so they're not ready.
Yeah.
They want to live that part. And they have to live that out.
Well, what it is a lot of times what I notice is people want to be a victim. They want to be a victim. They want to say, oh, well, because I tell people, I'm like, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but do I identify that way? Hell no. And do I actually even have a lot of issues with it? I don't. I have a friend, she's like, well, I said, girl, I don't. I said, when those things start hitting me, then I know that I need to make some shifts. I know that there's some stress happening, stuff is coming at me, and I need to make some changes. I might need to get out of that or do something different, or, not deal with that or whatever.
And that, you know that you can do that. But my little mantra is, at that point, I focus on my capabilities and not my disabilities.
Yes.
Because then one gets stronger and one gets weaker. So.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway.
So right. So let's share with the people where they can connect with you, the best place to connect with you.
The actual best way, if you want to connect with me, is just to send me an email at thebrighterlife@mail.com. And that's the THE brighter, BRIGHTER, the brighter life, LIFE, the brighter life @mail.com. I might have said Gmail before. So and I always answer the emails. And then that way we can exchange our phone numbers, and I can schedule, a time. I always answer that. Sometimes with my phone scheduling or some of the other sites that I'm on, I get them, they will come delayed to me. And I just, with just sending me a direct email, you're going to get a quick response.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
So this has been such a pleasure. I have really enjoyed it.
I have too, because you are fun.
I try to be.
Fun.
I just love it. I'm truly in that space where I'm in devotion to that. I'm in devotion to fun, freedom, and intuition.
That's right.
Those are my things. It's like,
and accept your intuition. It's there. We have it.
Yes.
If we know our bodies.
Yes.
We know us. We know intuition is something that we're just, that's where we're gaslit. Like, no, that didn't happen. No, it actually did.
It
And
did.
just our intuition, even feeling about somebody else or a situation.
Yes.
Sorry, I can go on for another 2 hours.
No, I was going to say
So-
same thing, because we were actually talking about this yesterday. I was talking about deja vu, because I said the reason why we feel like it's deja vu is because it's already happened.
Yeah.
We've already done it. We've already lived this day. It's already done. And that's why when it happens and we see it, we're like, oh, I've already had this conversation before. That happened to me recently. Really, I was like, wow, I've already had this conversation with you, this person, and I had never met that person that I know of, but I had that conversation with them. I said, we already had this talk right here.
Well, there's sort of a space and time, and that's another conversation too, between space and time, and oh boy, and parallel relationships, and okay, girl, we need to do this again, because you are just
yes, we're gonna do it again. I'm so excited. I'm gonna send you a message with my information. But
Okay,
what
excellent.
we'll do now is, once this processes, I'll process this probably tomorrow. I was gonna say tonight, but it probably won't happen tonight. Tomorrow I'll process this and I'll send it to you. You're gonna be on, I think you might be in January for your show.
Okay.
Let me see.
Well, I will blast this everywhere. You will, I have a nice little following. So
you'll be on the 31st. Your show will premiere on the 31st on YouTube, and it's also going to be on Anchor and all that stuff. That'll be up in the next day or so. Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google, Apple, all those places the podcasts are.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, so we'll get that going. I'll send you the links for those as well, and I'll also send you my information, because I was just telling another lady, I said, I'm connecting with people in real time. I said, because these apps crash, or like mine was stolen, my page was stolen, and all kinds of stuff. I was like, I don't have time for those games. I'm connecting with people in real time that I like.
Yeah, I like it. And thank you for reaching out to me. That was really a nice, pleasant surprise.
Because I thought about that. What we do is we use our intuition.
Yeah, there you go.
And I do the same thing with this. All right. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate you.
You too, Miss Tammi.
And I will definitely be back in touch. We're going to do something else again for sure, because this was a
fun.
good conversation and we got much more to talk about.
When I'm in Seattle, I'll just pop over to your studio and we'll
do that. I was going to say, it'll be a different thing. All right. So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. My guest, Dr. Leslie Birkland. It's been amazing. I have enjoyed the conversation. We're going to definitely schedule another one, because this was so good.
Excellent.
So again, thank y'all for watching. Those of you that are watching, those of you that are listening, thank you. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you'll get notified when we produce more content. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi.